Elon Musk's up-and-coming private aerospace company SpaceX recently made history with a 3-day all-civilian launch into space. Dubbed Inspiration4, the mission has marked a big day in the space world and has made many notable accomplishments. In today's video, we're going to discuss everything you need to know about this momentous expedition. On Wednesday, September 15th, 4 private citizens are set to be launched into orbit in what will make history, the first mission to space without any professional astronauts on board. The crew, consisting only of American citizens, will ride off to space aboard a rocket and capsule that's been developed by the private space company, SpaceX. Given the name Inspiration4, the mission will be the latest milestone flight among what has been quite the year for private space companies. The most notable moments being the joyrides to suborbital space by the billionaire entrepreneurs Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson during the summer. Another billionaire set to go off to space is Jared Isaacman, who will lead the historic all-citizen mission Inspiration4. Isaacman, 38 years old, is the founder and CEO of Shift4 Payments and paid an unspecified amount of money to join the momentous journey. Although it is rumored that he paid millions, SpaceX founder Elon Musk has said that while space tourism flights may only be in reach for the very wealthy, these pioneering missions will essentially lay the groundwork for future space trips to not only be more regular, but more affordable as well. And if the Inspiration4 expedition goes as planned, it'll be a huge leap for space tourism. Not to mention, it'll also be a benefit for SpaceX, which has dominated the private space flight industry, even over its rivals such as Jeff Bezos' aerospace company, Blue Origin. Joining Isaacman in space will be 29-year-old bone cancer survivor Haley Arsenault, who currently works as a physician assistant at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Arsenault, who will act as the chief medical officer, will be making history by becoming the youngest American in space. Along with these two is 42-year-old U.S. Air Force veteran and aerospace data engineer Chris Zambrowski. Last but not least, Sion Proctor will also be joining the crew. Proctor is a geoscientist, licensed pilot, and even a former NASA astronaut candidate. She has been designated as the pilot and will round out the crew for the 3-day expedition in SpaceX's Crew Dragon capsule. In preparation for the big flight, the 4 crewmates have spent a little over 5 months since March taking part in training activities such as microgravity and simulator training, altitude fitness, centrifuge, emergency drills, as well as medical exams and classroom work. During a pre-flight briefing, Proctor expressed her excitement and anticipation for the big day. Since the announcement when we were here last, every day has been the best day of my life, she said, speaking from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Every day just gets better and better. Rather than purely being a joyride, the mission is much more, and the crew will actually be performing a series of medical experiments that could be of benefit for future space flights. Along with the crew collecting data, biological samples and biomedical data will be collected from the team before, during, and after the flight. The crew of Inspiration4 is eager to use our mission to help make a better future for those who will launch in the years and decades to come, Isaacman said in an interview. The launching of the massive spacecraft is set to happen on Wednesday, the 15th, at Cape Canaveral, Florida. The 5-hour launch window first opens at 8:02 p.m. EST, and SpaceX is planning to broadcast the event live. Forecasts look to be favorable, and as long as they stay that way, the flight will take off just as planned. The Crew Dragon capsule will circle Earth 15 times each day for each 3 days from an altitude of nearly 360 miles, which is higher than the current orbits of the space station and the Hubble Space Telescope. After its orbiting, the capsule will re-enter the atmosphere and splash down in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Florida. Speaking on the mission, Isaacman explained that the expedition is meant to be an inspiration to all, also expressing how grateful he is for the opportunity, saying, "From the start of this mission, I've been aware of how fortunate we are to be a part of this history SpaceX is creating right now." Speaking of Isaacman, the billionaire contributed quite a lot to the expedition, which is also part of a charity initiative for raising money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Not only did Isaacman donate $100 million to the hospital, but he also donated the 3 other seats on the spaceflight to his fellow crew members. Zembrowski won his seat through a St. Jude charity drive, and Proctor won hers from an online contest that was held by Shift4 Payments, Isaacman's company. The launch of the spacecraft, set for 8:02 p.m. from Cape Canaveral, Florida, went perfectly according to plan. Just 3.5 hours before launch time, during a webcast of pre-liftoff, SpaceX principal integration engineer John Inspiracher declared that everything was go for launch. A little while earlier, Isaacman, Proctor, Zembrowski, and Arseneau all strolled out of a SpaceX warehouse, waving to the big crowds of family, friends, and well-wishers cheering to them. From the hangar, the group of four was driven across the Space Center to a support building in 2 different automobiles. Once there, they got into a designed black and white spacesuits. Afterwards, they headed over to the launch pad where they would board the glistening white SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule, also dubbed Resilience. Spacecraft is sat atop one of the aerospace manufacturer's reusable Falcon 9 rockets and is fitted with a special observation dome in place of the usual docking hatch. While this historic mission marks the debut of SpaceX's newest orbital tourism business, it also puts the company ahead of its competitors, who are also offering rocket ship rides to customers who are willing to pay a certain amount. Not only that, but it'll also, of course, give the company bragging rights. SpaceX's rivals, Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin, launched their own private astronaut projects this past summer, each of their founders, Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos, getting to go along for the rides. Unlike SpaceX's Inspiration4 mission, the two companies endured suborbital flights that lasted only a matter of minutes before returning back to land. Elon Musk SpaceX ranks as the top contender among the group of rising aerospace companies. As a matter of fact, they've already launched multiple cargo payloads and astronauts off to the International Space Station for NASA, having 2 of its Dragon capsules already docked there. Although Inspiration4 is making history by being the first all-civilian mission to launch into orbit, one of the crew members, Sion Proctor, is also making history herself by being the first ever black female spacecraft pilot. Proctor has quite the resume, being a science communicator, geoscientist, and artist. She's also been paving the way in the space world for decades. And finally, after years of waiting and even being a finalist in NASA's astronaut candidate program, which took place back in 2009, she's now living her dream of becoming an astronaut as she launches into orbit with the monumentous Inspiration4 mission. I'm really grateful to be here and to have this opportunity, Proctor said in a news conference with reporters. There have been 3 black female astronauts that have made it to space, and knowing that I'm going to be the 4th means that I have this opportunity to not only accomplish my dream, but also inspire the next generation of women of color and girls of color and really get them to think about reaching for the stars and what that means, she explained. In addition to expressing her excitement of being a part of this expedition and becoming an astronaut, Proctor also shared how she has also had to deal with extra pressure along her journey to going to space, saying, growing up as a black female and always trying to be a high achiever and not mess up, just having that pressure on yourself of thinking about not wanting to be eliminated, not wanting to miss out. You have to make sure you're the best of the best because you're opening the door for the people who follow you, she stated. A lot of times, if you're in a position of a role model, if you slip or you mess up, then it means you're kind of shutting the door for those behind you, the astronaut added. On top of the achievement of being the first black female spacecraft pilot, Proctor, who is 51 years old, is also making history by being the oldest black woman to go to space. She also spoke on this, elaborating on the belief people have that by being over a certain age, they can no longer do incredible things. Being an older black female in my 50s, I think that it's just going to be inspiring to see those dreams that you had when you were a kid still come true. Because a lot of times we think we've missed our prime in our 20s and our 30s by adding, I think that when we lift off, it's going to be inspiring not only for me, but I think everybody's following along because they can connect with every one of our crew members in a unique and special way, Proctor concluded. With that said, that's going to wrap up this video. Thanks for watching.